Welcome, everybody. John Zegar, johnzegar.com. How's everybody doing this morning? Good? Good. So, let's see. Kind of cloudy skies, not dark. Doesn't look, they're all white clouds. I don't know what that means. I don't think that. We're sure not forecasting for snow, rain, or sleet or anything like that. It's a little chilly. What do we got? Oh, freezing, 32. I don't know what wind chill is, but wanted to get on this morning and talk briefly about our ongoing conversation about how we're evolving and we end up with the person that we have right now, meaning ourselves, and where that all came from and how we evolved into the person that we are today. I got a couple drinks here with me. One is just this really good coffee from a gas station that I frequent from time to time. And it's called 1800 Street Coffee. It's really good. I enjoy getting it. I actually get it for free. Most of the time they just go ahead and comp me for, small, medium-sized coffee. But I'm drinking it, and it's really good. I've been drinking on it for about a half hour, 45 minutes, and it's fine. The other cup that I have going is what we all should be doing most every morning is turmeric, ginger. You can put a pinch of cayenne in there. It isn't going to hurt it. Maybe a little lemon, a little touch of honey. I mean, everybody has their version to it, right? But I pretty much get turmeric root and ginger, and I kind of stay with that. And the reason, I've been doing it a long time, but what it's good for is inflammation, of course. I think everybody knows that. You can't get sick unless you have inflammation first, right? And you can't die unless you have inflammation that causes a disease, and then it progresses from there. So for the inflammation is one of the main reasons that I drink turmeric and ginger tea. I'm going to shut the truck off. Kind of noisy in the background, probably. The other thing that turmeric and ginger is really good for is your kidneys. Most people, I think, have some form of kidney malfunction. Some worse than others, but for the most part, it cleanses the infection, inflammation, all the bad stuff in the kidneys. And I think if you do this, you'd have to look this up. I just heard it a few days ago. But I think you have to do it for like 2 weeks straight. And of course, I've been doing it longer than that. Then all of a sudden, where the black spots are in the kidneys, they all turn, I don't want to say pink, but just whatever the color of meat or flesh or kidney is. It just turns clean. I'm not sure if I'm describing that correctly. But it's really good for you, and it keeps you healthy. So I'm drinking both of those. But anyway, on back to the podcast. The podcast is I change from time to time. I evolve from time to time. Here's a simple, silly, stupid one. I don't always have the money to get a haircut, right? So I end up with long hair. That's kind of an evolving process that I don't necessarily choose to have happen. But if you don't have the $20-$30 to get a haircut anymore, you end up with long hair. And I feel bad about that. That's part of evolving. It's kind of a silly one. But personality plays a huge part in our evolution, right? How we change from being a child to adolescent to young adult, adulthood, and on going from there. Boy, that's good. I listen to people and talk to people and ask people questions all the time about how they're doing, what's going on, what's different, what's changing. And I get kind of different responses. I find that interesting. They say, this is way back in Psychology 101 when I was just getting started, they say that your personality doesn't change much. It kind of stays the way it's been throughout your adult life. And you as a child developed a personality, right? And that personality of how you think, act, and feel is the same personality with you as an adolescent and now as an adult. And even when you evolve into different aspects of yourself, your personality should remain the same, how you think, act, and feel. So, here's a couple examples. In the town that I live in, there's a lot of homeless people, right? And a certain side of town seems to have more homeless people than other parts of town. And some of these people you kind of knew before they ran into hard luck and hard times. And they had a personality. And then they ran into hard times and hard luck. And they started evolving into a different person or personality. Some of these people were doing okay. They were doing okay before they hit hard times. And their personality was so-so. You know, they were getting by. And not causing any havoc or crime or violence or, you know, they weren't a troublemaker as they were going through kind of a normal period of being an adult. And then they hit hard times. And it really has affected some of their personalities. For example, I talked, I don't know, I guess it was a couple days ago, about hostility and how we end up becoming hostile, more hostile, and where that came from and how we could possibly get rid of it. That's one example of what can happen. I see people out on the street living in sleeping bags and blankets, just out on the sidewalk or on the grass or somewhere out. not in confined quarters, in bad weather, with little to no money, which means little to no food, and times continue to get worse, and people continue to evolve into somebody different. Here's the next step of that process. If you stay there long enough in those conditions, whether you did them or not really doesn't matter. But some of these people, they don't want to go back. They get hardened to the point that living out, right, be it a tent or just out on the ground or whatever area they could sleep in that might give them some safety and protection from the wind and weather and that kind of thing. What's the old saying? No, it's actually a newer saying that nobody's coming to help you. Nobody's coming to pick you up. Nobody's coming to take care of you, take you home. Nobody's coming to rescue you. You're on your own. Pick yourself up and get on down the street, wherever you're going. Now, here's the interesting part from a psychological standpoint. Your personality, they say, should not change as you go through life. How you were as a child, adolescent, young adult, should remain the same. So therefore, as bad times hit, because they sometimes will, and we're in the middle of that right now, leastwise in the United States, people's personalities change. Like I said a couple days ago, they might become more hostile, more angry, more frustrated, more upset. It's called evolution, right? They evolve. And they get going down that path to where I'm fine right here, I'll take care of myself, I'll figure it out. If I die out here, screw it, I'll die out here. You have no leverage when you go to apply for some work or try to find some work under those conditions. You just don't have any leverage. You can't go to a prospective employer and expect that person to feel sorry for you and give you a job just for the sake that you're homeless. There's videos out, obviously, on the internet, pretty much everywhere, to where a wealthy lady or man, gentleman, find a homeless, pathetic homeless person scrounging, and everybody just turns their heads against that person. And this one woman or man decide to step in and help. They have a company, business, whatever it might be, restaurant, I don't know, and they offer that person, male or female, a job. And the person takes it with gratitude and turns their life around and becomes a member of planet Earth, becomes an earthling. And their personality basically stays the same. They didn't get hostile, they didn't get angry, they didn't rant and rave, throw a broom up in the air, do stupid things. So what we have is we have people that their personality remains the same. They take it as an opportunity from somebody who's offering them a gift of a job because of the compassion that person has towards that homeless person. Here's my problem with that. And this is real life. I think I blogged about it yesterday or the day before, I'm not sure. On a couple, 2, 3 occasions that I recall, because of my background, I've been doing psychology for, 55 years or so, which is helping people, trying to be of service to people, be of service for the greater good. That's a pile of shit. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. More often than not, this isn't science, this is just fact that I encounter as I travel around my daily being alive, meeting people, interacting with people. I run across, I guess they would be homeless people. I mean, they're without, they're struggling, they're in lack, they are begging, they are conning, they are pleading, asking, praying, just go on down the list, right? And not everybody will even pay attention to them. Most people just walk by them. But sometimes I stop long enough to offer, something. Do you need a few bucks for breakfast? Do you need a cup of coffee? Do you need a blanket? Do you need a winter coat? From places like Salvation Army or ARC, not expensive, but good quality enough where for a reasonable amount of money you can get somebody walking around in a warm coat in the middle of a blizzard. Well, they've all learned, I said they all, because it's almost pretty much they all have, how to con. They don't want to be helped. Yeah, I'll take a coat. Yeah, I'll take a sleeping bag. Do you have $80 for a room for me tonight? Do you have money to give me for food today so I can go to this restaurant and get breakfast, blah, lunch, blah, dinner? Can you just give me $20 right now? I just want $20. Can you just give me $20? Can I have $50? I'm going to get out. Could I just have $50? evolution. The universe is teaching harsh attitudes to these people. They really don't want your help. They want your money. Gosh darn it, just give me your money, will you? Give me that sleeping bag that's worth $200. Give me that coat. Go inside there and get me a coat. You got a $50 bill? Just give me the $50 bill. I'm fine. Where do you sleep at? I just sleep down by the river. Do you understand what I'm saying? I had an example, I don't know, several years ago. I was working in psychology and with kids or something, another. And there was a kid at like a McDonald's that was not part of the in crowd, you know what I mean? And he clearly didn't have the financial wherewithal to buy a Coke and, I don't know, get a burger or whatever they do. And I said to the kid, kind of without the other kids listening, because I didn't want to embarrass him, here, you want $5. Right? I don't know, seemed like a good idea to me. Seemed like he may not be the outcast of the group. He might be a little more received by people. Evolution. Do you ever think evolution was about money? Well, it is. It is. I mean, myself, I come from a background where I had a pretty comfortable life with a fairly high amount of income and, you know, comfortable living and blah, blah, blah. And times change. And I evolved into a little harder shell. Just a little harder crust. And I'm not the same person. I'm not the same personality that I was growing up. I'm just not. I'm not the same personality. And I don't like it. But nobody's coming and tugging on my shoulder and trying to hand me, you know, $5 to go get a coffee and a burger. We change. Our personalities change. When you have the opportunity, think of the guy who had the goodness of that gentleman or older lady to be offered a job at their business. This is what I preach about. I hope you've been paying attention. People, after a period of time in evolution, they're evolving through the consequences of the world's economy and politics, right? And they see in their heads an opportunity to make same amount of money that maybe their parents made when the child was just a little kid. Here's what will happen to that guy that takes the job at the restaurant through the nicety of that elderly owner. He'll sabotage the job. He'll sabotage the job when it gets close to the amount of money that he thinks he's capable of making, and won't allow himself to make $1 or $2 over that. And we'll figure out how that job can fail. And he will go back to the streets being the homeless person. Do you guys get that? Kind of a long podcast to get to that point. But that's what we all do. We all have a picture, an imagination, a visualization of who we are and what we look like and what it's going to turn out to be. And we know our limits and the tops, and can only make so much money, and then you're going to sabotage things. You can also go into a profession, an industry. Work your way up. Become in a higher position. And when it gets uncomfortable, when you hit that mark that you know you're not supposed to be at, you'll sabotage it so that you have to be cast back down to the bottom to where you believe you're supposed to be. Is that fucked up or what? That's the way it works, you guys. That's just the way it works. You might be an attractive young lady trying to work your way up in an industry. I don't care what it is. Go to the gym every day and look hot, and you get yourself a little car that's economical but brand new. And you start making money and moving up. And you'll get to a point where it becomes too much. And you'll sabotage that in order to go back down to just starting over again. You guys get that? That's the way it works for most everybody. Like, I'm sitting in a parking lot right now where there's homeless people everywhere. And there's regular people everywhere. And there's foreigners that own companies like gas stations, thrift shops, blah, blah, blah. And everybody's got a peak, a top, that they're willing to work up to, but not over. And they will figure out how to screw it up so that they don't go over that imaginary amount of money, for example, that they think they can make. These homeless people, there are wealthier homeless people. There are intellectually healthier homeless people than others. And the same is true even in that industry. Some people just realize, my life now exists of sitting, standing with these pathetic, worn-out clothes on corners trying to panhandle for money, day wages, they call it. The 2 or 3 women I ran across in the last, I don't know, few weeks or something, they looked like they just couldn't even afford the clothes at Goodwill. They were so pathetic. Their hands were black, dirty. Here, you want $5 to go into the city gym and they'll let you take a shower for $5. Oh, no. Sometimes I remember one time I had gone 2 months and one time I had gone 3 months without taking a shower. That's the response that I got. Being too clean was overwhelming to where they had to set it up to fail. God bless everybody. Take care of one another, and I'll look forward to talking to y'all again real soon. Thanks a lot. See you. Bye.